pulled our TransUnion Credit Report. Anytime you pull in your credit report, TransUnion Equifax Experience, always pay attention to the payment/remarks key. You know what each one of these factors mean. X means unknown. NR means not reported. Those are two totally different things. Not reported and unknown, two totally different things. Because everything should be known in a sense. Because everything before it's furnished to your credit report is supposed to have maximum possible accuracy. So unknown would be a problem just off the rip. 30, 60, 90, 120, COL, transfer collection, CO, charged off by account provider, FC, foreclosure, right? DRG, dispute resolved, reported by credit grantor. DRC, dispute resolved, consumer disagree. You're going to see a lot of these DRCs and DRGs throughout credit reports if you've been doing disputes. And you'll probably see a lot of these. Should be PL, profit and loss write-off. If you have a charge-off, it'll probably have that factored under it in the stat. Let's start with this one. City card, CBNA, got us an account number. Remember, all the account numbers are going to usually have some type of mask over it that covers the last few numbers or the first few numbers. That's perfectly fine. Problem is when there's no numbers, need to be some type of indicator. Date open, 3/22/2021. All right, let's dive into it. Flexible spending card, balance 1134. Last day updated, 1/7/2025. So it's recently updated. Last payment made, 4/4/2022. That's something that we want to keep up with. Date closed. That's interesting. So we'll definitely have to go into the payment history to understand what's going on here. So we had the last payment made on the 4th, April 4th, 2022, but it was closed 6 months earlier on the 11th. So that is something that we would question. Remember, yes, you can go straight into disputing, et cetera, et cetera. I'm always asking for verification. So I'm inquiring into all of these discrepancies to find. Unless it's something that's just black and white, clear as day, I'm not just flat out disputing. I'm more or less asking questions. Because this is a question I would need to ask based on what the payment history lines up and say. How the account why was the account closed 6 months prior to the last payment being made? Because sometimes, they've been closed and they could have been making payments on it afterwards. The payment history is going to determine what's what. High balance 5944 from 12/2022. Okay, high 5944. Credit limit history. Okay, so we was open April, May, June, July, August, September, October. All of these, this there CCBG that I talked about. I don't understand why I would be here. Because the account was positive at this time, if I'm not mistaken. This account was positive at the time, so why would there be dispute remarks? Like, was the account actually in dispute? There shouldn't just be randomly dispute remarks. If they disputed it, cool. But this is another problem. Why do we have PRL remarks? Why do we have PRL remarks as early as December 2021? From my understanding, it has not been charged off yet. It's on time. On time, we have a profit and write-off. So again, see PRL, profit and loss write-off. So why is it within the first year or so without any late payments is it showing profit and loss write-off? These are things I have questions about. Get back to it. So we got profit and loss write-off as early as the second month. So June 21, September 21, December, March 22. Okay, now we have another problem. If the last payment was made in April 2022, last payment made April 2022, are we also late in the same month? And it's not true, but it's definitely something that I have questions about. Last payment was made, and they already wrote it off profit and loss write-off. But the last payment was made I say it was said March 2022, but it said April 2022. So meaning that that 30-day late should have technically went for May, but May is showing on time. So another thing that I have to question, because I don't know what's going on prior to all of this, there's no balance history. There's no history for the first year. And then we randomly finally start showing balance past due December 2022. I probably would have completely overlooked it if all of these were completely blank across the board. But the fact that they randomly are reporting this is kind of interesting to me. Maybe based off the type of card it is. But either way, there should be some type of balance, some type of past due to justify that there's a 30-day, 60-day. Because the last payment was made, this would have meant that of March for the April to be marked late. There's nothing here. So this is why we have to ask questions. Was there a payment made in March 2022? Unless you have proof or something that says that there was a payment made in March 2022, there's no need of you trying to argue that. That's a question that you ask. Was there a payment made in March 2022? Or better yet, just send you the whole full detailed payment history. Then you can match up what the payment history has versus your credit report. So there's multiple ways to dispute the items on your credit report. We're going over now what's inside the four corners of your credit report. That's just what's on your credit report itself. We aren't talking about the things that are outside your credit report, like letters that you get from your creditor that have balances or payments or something like that is different. All of those things can go into your dispute. But those are pretty much straightforward to point out. If somebody's saying that you owe $5,000 on your credit report, but you have something from the creditor saying that you owe $2,000, then you just send that off. So that's pretty much straightforward. So we're still getting profit and write-off. We got 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120. So this is another question that I have. If the last payment was made, just say the last payment was in fact made April 4th, 2022, so that May could be reported on time. Let's say that was true. What happened October 2022? If there is no payment made at all, how are we 120 days back to back? That should have been 120 and 150, or 120 and then charged off. They've been saying it's charged off the whole time. So it should have been 120, 150, or 120 and charged off. So this is where it's kind of intriguing to me in a sense. We do have this 120 over here randomly, the second 120, then we have the charge off. Usually when an account is charged off, whatever balance that is due is owed in full at that point. So this is why I say it's confusing to me. December 2022, second month after charge off, not the first, second month after charge off. Now we finally have a balance due. But the problem with this is the fact that it is charged off, but we still have a past due balance. There shouldn't be a past due balance on the charged off account because they've written off the whole balance as uncollectible. So what they're demanding at that point is the full balance. They're not requesting the minimum payment, or shouldn't be requesting the minimum payment at that point. So this right here is something I have questions about. It's got to be inaccurate just because it's a past due balance on the charged off account. So it's got to be inaccurate, just point blank, period. But for me, in my process, I like to ask questions. And all right, we got these reporting, but then January we blank again. February we reporting, March reporting. All these are past due, past due, past due, past due, not reporting. So my inquiry into this date that don't have a balance and it don't have a past due, all of that is incomplete, and I need for that to be corrected. Because if you're gonna show after the fact, when it's charged off, now start showing, I need you to show everything when I was doing good too. Because aside from that makes all this incomplete. But especially when we start to point out discrepancies, what the balances was and what's the past due. Because from my knowledge, I remember paying August 2022. You might have paperwork that showed that you made a payment October 2022, but the account is showing that the last payment was made April. So without all of that information, you still left in the dark. You can't properly dispute this account. And the fact that the past due is constantly increasing is another problem. And it's constantly increasing all the way until it gets to the final balance. This is a problem. This should not have. All right. Now let's work on this. JP Morgan Chase Bank. All right. 5/18/2021. That is important. Date open 5/18/2021. That is important. I do have a checklist. So just refer to the checklist of things that I check out. There may be other things on the checklist that you may think of. So don't take that as everything. You may find something different that you may want to inquire into. But those are just a few things that I see common inaccuracies on. All right, so this is a revolving credit card, balance $5,855, last updated 1/17/2025. The reporting is in fact up to date, so it is accurate up to this date, supposedly. Last payment made is also important, 5/19/2023. Different credit reports have different factors or indicators. I think Equifax is date of first delinquency or something like that. But here they go off of last payment made. So last payment made, boom, charged off, paid monthly, date closed. That is also an important date. 10/18/2023. Credit limit history. So this is just a history of the historical limit of the card, 2000. But as you know, charged off credit cards do not have, no longer have an available credit limit. So if you see on any one of your reports a charged off credit card with an available credit limit, that's probably inaccurate and requires for you to inquire into. It's way more fun when they don't know how to answer the things that they're supposed to know how to answer. So like I say, you dispute it if you have facts, black and white, or whatever, but the law also allows for you to just put the ball in their court. Hey, I need you to tell me what's going on here. I need you to help me understand this, help me understand that, help me understand this. If they can't help you understand it, guess what? They must remove it, lawsuit or whatever. So just like the last account, we have nothing on time. At least we don't have profit and loss. Yep, I lied. Too late. We got loss write-off starting March 2022. Although the payment was on time, but you can't even get your payment was past due, high credit, balance. Here we go. Finally, a year later, June, a year later, we finally have a balance, high credit, past due zero, scheduled payment. This is what complete reporting looks like. Everything else is incomplete. This could have been now I'm thinking about it, it could have been a secured card that became unsecured, but it doesn't say that. So because it doesn't say that, I'm questioning everything. Everything is blank, I'm questioning. Especially when it has remarks like this. I'm not really tripping on those. I do have questions on why it does have dispute remarks if I didn't dispute it, but I do have questions about this. Why is that on time payment? There's another one. So we see here, we see everything we can all right, balance, high credit, past due zero, scheduled payment $35, meaning they paid their $35, but it's still under PRL. These are just things I would have questions about. So it's TransUnion, they don't tell you what was paid. They just said it was past due and what's scheduled without knowing what's paid. So you would have to request a detailed payment history. But without knowing what's paid, it's hard to know why this did this. That doubled. Went from April 2022, 2,200 to 4,600 in May 2023. Why would something like that happen? I mean, if you dear credit or whatever, you know exactly why something like this happened. Yeah. But also, falls in their court to kind of. So, yes, you could. Oh, yeah, I know what happened here. Or you say, hey, what happened here? Ideally, they got the payment history to line up with it. If they don't, guess what? They got to delete it. So they can't verify that. All right. So we still okay. Schedule payment. For whatever reason, schedule payment goes up from $40 in May to $125. I'm sure it has something to balance, but it goes up. And now it's increasing, boom, $190 to $11. So somewhere from July 2023 to August 2023, a payment was not made. So we got this past due of 125. So I guess they made a partial payment. Without having the full payment history, it's kind of hard to go off of. I guess they paid maybe what, $65 or $75. About 65. Scheduled payment go to 211, 30, 60, 90. Okay. This is another thing. Was there a payment made from December to January? Was there a payment made from December 2023 to January 2023, January 2024? Because if it wasn't a payment made, then this charge off should have started a month sooner, meaning that it could fall off your report a month sooner. This would be inaccurate if a payment wasn't, in fact, made. They're not helping you by stretching it out another 120 days, another 120. So we go from January 2024 to finally charged off February 2024. But why is the past due balance only this? If it's a charge off account, usually the past due balance is the full balance due. So I would have questions as to why they went here and here. You know, it's crazy. You're asking some of these questions and you're thinking that they're going to come back and have a legit answer, or come back just delete it, or come back and do X, Y, Z. Sometimes they take that information, process your dispute, come back, and they may do some stupid like, all right, 2120 charged off, and come back and add a 180 here out the blue and another 180 here or something. But still, these two charged off. Now, you could dispute that. You can go through this whole process of redisputing that, or you can go after them under Section 1681B and 1681I. They failed to conduct a reasonable reinvestigation, and they reported inaccurate information to your credit report. So, all right, now we have the full balance due on these, which makes sense. Okay.